Hi, welcome back to this module. Doing it slightly different again. I'm still having problems with the internet, but hey ho, we're rolling with it, we're rocking with it, and we're getting on with it. Do you know what? I actually prefer doing it like this because it saves faffing around, loading things up on the laptop, and who knows? Maybe I will start doing podcasts. Who knows? Pin that for the future. Watch this space. So let's get into this module. So this module is going to be looking around, your purpose, what are you here for? And, we've started obviously in the last episode, in the last module, looking at identity, who do you want to become? What does that version of you look like? And I'm hoping and trusting that, you've started doing some of the actions. And if you haven't started already, then what are you playing at? This stuff is like gold dust. And it's so valuable because when we start like acting and responding like that version of ourselves, that is where, we take the power back. That is where we are stepping into the true best version of ourselves because we're acting in a different space. So if you haven't started doing the action steps already, then please do so because you're cutting yourself short if you're not doing that already and you're not going to change your identity. One of the things that I've always learned is you've got to kind of like put yourself in that space. You've got to take yourself out of that fear, take yourself out of your comfort zone and put yourself in that place where other people are going to be like-minded people. So if that means, finding your community, there's loads of communities on Facebook. Obviously, you've got my page, The Great Awakening. So if you're not on there already, then please, go find it and add it. It's full of like-minded people like yourself that are all on the spiritual journey together, that are into, like spirit and spirituality and readings and growth and mindset and transformations. So that is just one community that obviously I offer in order to bring people together and to share your experiences, share feedback. It's just a great space to be in. And obviously there are other like Facebook communities on there. One of my coaches has got one called Women with Ambition, so Julia Bell. So, she's amazing as well and it's also a great place to hang out with people that are like-minded. Because what happens, you see, is when we hang around with people that, what we want to be, it inspires us. It gives us fuel to the fire because when we're hanging around with people that are energy drainers and constantly complaining and constantly, in that old identity where we once were, it's so easy that we can be dragged down. So it's so important to make yourself like you are putting yourself in the right environments, really plug in to other coaches, get yourselves onto podcasts, whatever you find works for you. The people that I would recommend is Tony Robbins, Noor Hibbert, Natasha Clark, she's amazing as well. Dean Graziosi, these are just a few people. There's a podcast by the Mindset Mentor. I think he's on Spotify. So some of his stuff that is really, really good. And just doing like these little simple tweaks, even if it's just watching, a motivational YouTube video, some great ones on there. Listening to like one of those just like every morning, that's 5 minutes long. These are all going to have, really great impacts. Starting your morning off with gratitude is another really good one. Shifting your focus, because where your focus goes, energy flows. So it's just about, really starting to step into that next level best version of yourselves. So with that being said, let's get into this episode, this module, because this one's about your purpose. Now, when somebody says to you, what is your purpose? Everybody always thinks like it's this big, massive, big, fat, grand vision of, going to save like 1 million people's lives or, setting up this big, massive empire. And actually it can be, but it might also be something really, really minute. Everybody's purpose is completely different. But the thing to remember here, there's no right or wrong purpose in the world. You've been put on this planet for a reason. And I always remember just, I was stuck in a job at the Halifax Bank, and I was stuck there for 4 years, and I absolutely hated the entire time. Oh no, I tell a lie, actually. It was the first 2 years that I hated, that was in branch. And then the other 2 years I was in head office doing various different roles. But while I was in branch, I absolutely hated it. And I knew that this wasn't right for me. It wasn't the right environment. It was full of just bitching, complaining, a lot of, underhand tactics, like the honest to God, like in that workplace, it's like watching opposite like an episode of Coronation Street with the stuff that goes on behind the scenes that customers like haven't got a clue. And it's just, it just wasn't the right environment for me. I just didn't, when I was first there, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed learning all the new things, but in reality, it just wasn't for me. And I knew that I was destined for something else. And this is what I was saying, it's important that you get yourself around the right people, because there will be people, that you come across every day that are there to put a negative spin on it. And, when I told people that I was applying for head office, my manager at the time, she turned around and said to me, well, you're wasting your time because you're never going to get a job. Like, nobody's going to take you on. And I just, that was fuel to my fire, because I absolutely love people that say to me that I can't do this, or I can't have that, or it's never going to work, or, the dream stealers, I hate it. So I use that as my fuel to my fire to think, do you know what, I'm going to fucking prove you wrong. And I did, within about 4 months of her saying that comment, the next thing, I got an interview, and I was actually offered 2 jobs at head office, and then I had to pick which one I wanted to go for. So, it just goes to show that, people are going to try and bring you down and trying to, bring you back off your pedestal, because for some reason, people don't like other people succeeding. And, that's not what I'm about. I'm here to help other people succeed. I'm not here to knock anybody off a pedestal. I'm here to try and help raise people's consciousness, to get them into alignment, and to actually realise that there's more to the world. There's more to what the world that we see. There's more to where you are right now. And, it's just about getting yourself in that right environment and understanding that, if you are in a place where you are right now, when you are really feeling unhappy and you're not feeling fulfilled, that it's probably because you're not in alignment, and you're not in alignment with your purpose. So how do we go about finding our purpose? That's probably a great place to start. So the way that I found out what my purpose was, I kind of already knew. I had this niggling feeling for coaching, but I didn't listen to that calling to begin with. And what happened over time was, I basically, in a little short span of how I got into coaching, was I worked for the Halifax Bank. I fell pregnant with my son, went on maternity leave. They offered me some hours, but obviously because I was a single parent at the time, it didn't work. So I ended up leaving, and I was out of work then, obviously, until my son was old enough to go to nursery. And then I applied for God knows how many jobs, got knocked back, fell pregnant with my daughter. And I thought, you know what, I may as well wait now. So I waited until she was in nursery. Again, I applied for hundreds of jobs. I got knocked back, really suffered with my mental health at that point. Because, obviously I was applying for jobs like waitressing that I knew that I was really good at. Done it before when I was 16. And, it was realising that actually I was destined for more than waitressing. And because obviously nobody was coming back and nobody was giving me job interviews, I decided that, do you know what, I'm going to employ myself. So I actually embarked on network marketing and having my own travel business. So I started that journey, and then as I was doing that, that's how I kind of got into coaching, because obviously I had my own team. We had a lot of group calls, team calls, and I was being asked, to train people on certain things, because obviously I streamlined processes and really found things a lot easier. And the great thing that because of my human design, is that I'm able to watch people's trainings, and I am able to put my own spin on it. I'm able to help people understand it in a more simple terms because I can see things differently. So that's how I kind of got into coaching. But I didn't take that leap straight away. So I actually stayed in the travel industry I started in 2019 and it took me till 2021 because I've started this business in 2021. So it took me till July 2021 before actually really listening to my soul's calling. And I knew that, coaching, I was being really drawn into doing coaching. And it was only because, I started to realise that my business, I was doing really well in it. And just things were just becoming more and more harder for me because I just wasn't listening to the calling that I was being given. And actually, it was through doing a workshop with Noor Hibbert where we talk about manifesting and, asking for a sign. And that's what I did. I asked for a sign as to whether or not I should take the leap of faith and go for coaching. And I kid you not, literally straight after that call, I saw 4 different things all around coaching, and that was my sign. I was like, right, okay, I definitely need to go into this. So I invested in another course to learn the activation method with 2 of my other beautiful coaches that I've worked with before. Learned that, and then in October, that's when I started really rolling out with the Great Awakening and starting my own business. And I left the travel industry, which came to a massive shock for everybody because obviously I was doing really well in it. I was quite high up, and it came to a massive shock to those people. And don't get me wrong, some people supported me, some people didn't support me, and that's okay. And that's how I got into coaching, and that's how I found my purpose. So it didn't come to me overnight. It came to me, just really tuning into actually what things I do enjoy. And that's how I was then able to, listen to my soul's calling. And, I put my hand on my heart and I asked myself, what really lights me up? What is my soul born to want to do? What am I here for? What is my purpose? And that is how I came with this, and I've always known that I've been a yellow personality. So yellow personality is where, you really like helping people, you're a caring person. And, I have got red personality in me as well, but more yellow. So the red personality is, where you're a leader, you're driven, you're motivated. Reds are normally really driven by money rather than helping people. So I have got a slight red in me with the leader side of it and taking charge. But obviously I've got more yellow in me. There are also the other personalities is green and the blues, but I'm not 100% sure on what those features are. Now I'm sure if you go onto Google or YouTube, there will be things where you can already establish. I think the greens are the blues are more analytical thinkers. So those are the ones that really take the time before diving in deeper. But obviously, if you want to learn more about that and understanding what your personality traits are, or you probably already know, there will be something on YouTube, I would have thought, to really understand all of that. This was something that I learned through obviously my network marketing business and looking at the different personality traits. So that's how I kind of got into my calling and really diving into finding out what my purpose is. So the great thing for you to start with is, by putting your hand on your heart and really listening to what your soul's asking you to do. And, ask yourself, what do I love to do? What purpose have I got? What am I here for? And asking those powerful questions, you're going to get yourself some answers. And it's about trusting yourself. And, I'm not saying to you that overnight I built my coaching business, because I didn't. I kind of took my time with it. So that's another thing, people just get so in their heads. And Tony Robbins has got a saying that if you're in your head, you're dead. And it's about, taking those little small steps. So I didn't go launching straight into my business. I investigated it. I looked for coaches that could help me. I then set up my Facebook group. I then did like little mini sessions to start getting some clients and start getting feedback. I didn't go straight into it. So whatever it is that you are being called to do for your purpose, and like I said, there's no right or wrong answer to this. It's about what little steps. Remember what we said before, of taking that like 1% is going to steer you onto a different path. So it's not about, going 100 mile an hour and building your empire, because, our brain obviously is there to keep us safe. And what we're faced with here is a staircase. But what we need to be able to do is take that first step. And that first step might just be, looking. It might just be joining a Facebook group. It might just be putting your CV on Indeed. Whatever it might be, it's just about taking those little steps. So your growth work for the end of this module is going to be taking that time to really connect with your heart and asking yourself those powerful questions. What is my purpose? What do I enjoy doing? What have I been put on this planet to do? And really listening to those answers. And then asking yourself, what little steps can I take immediately to start fulfilling this dream? And also, what is your life going to look like? What impact is it going to have on your life by doing this? And those are some powerful questions that you can journal on, which is going to open your eyes to so many things. So that now brings us to the end of this module. So I'll join you over on the next module. It might be done via this. It might be done via face-to-face. Who knows? See what the internet brings. But I'm trusting that this module has really helped you. I look forward to seeing your transformations, and I will leave the comment section so you can comment about what your purpose is, what has come up for you. And I look forward to sharing those little light bulb wins with you. So I'll join you over on the next module.